91.
I'm missing somebody. She don't like to go on the stage when her trying to be on the stage. All you big man.
Man, shout out to you guys for staying, the people who are still here.
Yeah.
That means a lot staying the whole way through. So give yourself a hand. Shout out to Aunt Walker in the building. Shout out to Stamp in the building. New Skills, New You. We got Carmen and CJ. Brandy. Cash Card Brandy. Of course, MLM CPA, Rapping Doe. This is the whole Todd Capital Mastermind family. And it's cool because an idea that I created brought so many people together. And now everybody just kind of supports each other, promotes each other, shows up for each other. And it was just an idea that I had, and it's across the whole country. So you got people who are in Atlanta, who are in Philadelphia, in Jersey, and they're all out here to support BlackBusinessClique, who's also part of the Todd Capital Mastermind.
Yeah.
I need to be a part of it.
So really cool things are happening, and I'm happy to be here. We're gonna run this podcast style. Let's hit it.
Let's get it. Just like Todd Billy said, clap it up for yourselves for being here, sticking with us. It's been a long day. I know it's hot. It's hot outside, but again, it means the world to myself. It means the world to Tina that y'all been rocking with us. Y'all been supporting us. And when I say this humbly, but this is only the beginning. We just getting started. We just getting started. Not today, but from where BlackBusinessClique is going, where we see BlackBusinessClique going, we just getting started. So we appreciate y'all for being down for the cause for years and years. We going into our 5th year next year. So if y'all thought we did something this year, watch what we got planned next year.
Come on, speak it.
Tell me. Well, let's get this started. Y'all already heard enough from me and Tina, right? Y'all here to learn a little bit more about Todd Billy, Brother Charles Oglesby. Again, I said it earlier today when I brought up Bruce. Every coach should have a coach. This is another one of my coaches. Somebody that's always been supportive. Somebody that always saw the vision. Somebody that continuously poured into Tina and myself when we didn't want to. This is the first mastermind that we joined, and we was real skeptical. We were like, man, I don't know about all that. Had a conversation with Miss Marjorie. She's like, listen, I gotta take my glasses off because how serious this was. This is a no-nonsense group. So if you guys are gonna be in this group, you need to bring your A game. I was like, oh, she ain't playing. And that's the type of accountability, the type of feedback that you need. Somebody that sees more in you than you see in yourself.
That's right, come on.
And they pushed us to new heights.
Yes.
So I'm confident, I can say it easily when I tell you guys, this is just the beginning. We just kind of hitting our stride now. I still work my 9 to 5. Tina's still working with the kids, working with the family, make sure the house is in order. We do our BlackBusinessClique thing, but when we start putting our heads together and do it 1,000%, the sky is the limit, and we're starting to see it now.
Absolutely.
So again, we appreciate you guys. So again, babe, you wanna try?
No, I want to hear from Charles.
I talk too damn much, don't I? All right, let's get it, man. I've been playing around. Listen, Brother Charles Oglesby, Todd Capital, Todd Billy in the building. Let's start this thing off by letting the people know a little bit more about who you are, what you do, you know, some of your upbringing, and how do you get to who you are today?
So I don't want to forget this, but because we've been talking about the Todd Capital Mastermind, I want to let you guys know what really led to my breakthrough. What led to my breakthrough was affordability, where you create things that people can attain. And I always give people the example of like Tesla or any other car brand or any other brand in general, is you have the S-Class, you have the E-Class, but you really get your money from the C-Class. And so the Todd Capital Mastermind, you keep hearing us throwing it around, it's people who pay $10 a month, $5 a month, $1 a month, but the value in the conversation is priceless. When I first started out doing this, well, when I first got into the course game, of course, I was charging about $900 for my course. And I kept seeing somebody put up 5-figure weeks weeks, not years. He was putting up 40K weeks. And I was like, there's something to this 40K a week stuff. Let me see what he's doing. He's not gonna tell me what I'm doing. I'm just watch what he's doing, and I'm gonna start taking gems from that. And so I noticed every Friday he run a $50 sale. And so you know what I did? I ran a $50 sale the next Friday. And I didn't hit a 5-figure week, but I had a $2,000 day. And I work in downtown LA. I went to the rooftop and I was like, whatever y'all want, we got it. I got $2,000 today. But it all came through affordability. And so what I find with the businesses that we build, a lot of times we want to price them at a premium. We want to put it here because it's like, this is my worth, this is what I'm worth. But the real number that you're worth is the top line number. When you look at your income statement, ask MLMC what an income statement is. You look at your income statement, that's what you're worth. So to tell you who I am, in 2020, we did about $3 million in revenue. And the crazy part about it is this is digital products. Digital products don't have too many expenses.
We clap it up for $3 million.
In 2021, we did about $2 million, and now we're about a multi-six-figure business.
Come on now, King.
Recurring.
Yes.
Miss Marjorie got her hands full.
But I wouldn't be anywhere that I am right now without having just like a mom that got out there and just grinded. And so a lot of people, I tell them, like, I didn't invent ambition. I just imitated the ambition that I saw. And so I saw my mom working her job, not being satisfied with her job, going back to school, getting her education, and advancing in her career. So I knew that's what I gotta do. It's cool, it's possible to work a job and advance on top of that job. From there, I always grew up on a college campus. And so I think what's cool is you have these situations where like maybe you think you can't do something because you have kids. Like, oh, I can't go to school, I got kids. I can't run a marathon, I got kids. Bring your kids with you. They're gonna get value out of that experience of coming along with you. And so when I was going to San Diego to stay with my mom, I knew college was destined. It wasn't an option, it wasn't a maybe. That's where I'm gonna be because that's where I always was. So after college, created a company called Todd Capital. Todd Capital was strictly based on just giving value away. Giving value away. You gotta discover your gift. Whatever your gift is, your unique gift. It might not be what you see everybody talking about. Yeah, that might be cool, but there's something that is unique to you. There's something that you have unique insight into that if you just stay in that lane, and I encourage you to stay in your lane and be unique and dominate that one particular niche, then you gotta refine that gift. So what does refinement look like? It looks like advanced education. It looks like courses. It looks like YouTube University. It looks like reading a bunch of books. And so then after you refine that gift, you gotta give it away. I didn't say charge high ticket. I didn't say put it out to market at the highest price you could potentially get. Give it away. You wanna know what's gonna happen when you give it away? You're gonna build a community of people who rock with you wherever you go in the country. Wherever I go in the country, people are stopping me. They're taking pictures of me. They're telling me how the content that I put out there helped them, whether it was paid or unpaid, but usually it was affordable. So for me, who I am is just somebody who loves the culture, sees things that we can solve within the culture, and is willing to take the initiative to solve those problems. And that's what I want us to do. I don't want us to be problem identifiers. I want us to be problem solvers. I want us to not necessarily get into business for the sake of making money, get into some business for the sake of making a difference. And if we can make a difference, then we won't have no problems. Todd Billy.
Come on.
So I hear you talk a lot about Miss Marjorie, and I admire the relationship that you guys have. But you're also a father, you're also a husband. How do you balance having, a family and making time for prioritizing them as well as your business and entrepreneurship, as hectic as that could be sometimes?
So I would say I don't believe in balance.
Talk to him.
I don't believe in balance. I believe in abundance. And I feel like
That's a bar.
what happens is when you go hard in one spot, it opens up room in other areas. I'm a better father because I go hard in business. I'm a better husband because I go hard in business. I'm a better son because I go hard in business. And so you got to go hard at building something before you can even really be good at the things you're supposed to be doing. Am I present? Absolutely. Am I caring? Am I loving? Am I supportive? Absolutely. But I don't think balance is the goal. I think that abundance is the goal, because once you do establish those things, you become a better each of all those things. Anybody here who's achieved success, I'm sure that you became a better mother, you became a better brother, you became a better individual and contributed to society and to other people around you. You can't be a mentor if you haven't already achieved success. And so I would say that I don't necessarily believe in balance, but I do go all in with the time that I do have. And there's a lot of time that we have that we're sitting on. You guys aren't, because you stayed to the end. But like, there's a lot of time that we have that we just be watching Netflix, man. We just be taking trips. We be whatever. And time is the biggest asset that you have to improve yourself and to grow. And so after you get off of work, you still got time to get that education, to build that business. I actually went back to work recently. Financially free, back at work. It's great. But what I found is I had a lot of time that I was wasting when I wasn't working, because I have passive income that takes care of my major expenses. So I have passive income that takes care of my mortgage, takes care of my son's education, takes care of the cars, takes care of all that stuff. But I needed actually to have less time to be more productive. And so you might be sitting there thinking like, I work a day job so I can't do these things. Like, no, that's exactly the reason why you can do those things, is because now you become more focused. My weekends are just laser sharp now. I'm not taking long naps during the day. I'm not going and wasting time. It's like, we got a checklist of things we got to get done. Boom, 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 let's get it done. And so I would just say that don't aim at balance. And a lot of people aim at balance, and that's why they lose. They want to be this well-rounded individual. You don't got to be well-rounded. You got to go all in. I would say another gem is that you got to double down on what's working. So you can launch a bunch of things, but don't be trying to keep all them balls in the air at the same time. Once you find that one that stays a little bit higher, that's the one that we're gonna work on. And so for me, I put a lot of courses and content out there, a lot of projects that I've worked on. And then once I found the one that was going further, I was like, boom, putting all the investment money behind that, putting all the marketing money behind that, putting all the advertising money behind that. And so just be laser focused. And then once you do that, you can roll back and be a great everything else.
Yes, sir.
I love that. Clap it up for that one. So you mentioned, I don't want to get this incorrect, 2020, 3 mil, 2021, 2 mil, and then 6 figures consistently ever since. But you didn't mention how. Can we talk a little bit about the how and what that is?
So I think that's a good question, because I get up here a lot and I talk about like the idea of entrepreneurship and not necessarily what worked for me. And I think it's because they all kind of go hand in hand. But so created a course called the Options Course. You can find it at optionswithtodd.com, www.optionswithtodd.com. I have no offer. You can probably get it for $1 on there. I think it's like $1 ebook. And what I did is I launched this course. I was scared to launch it because I learned about options in college. And when I left college, I started working as a financial advisor. So I worked for Edward Jones. We don't touch options there, but you still had to learn options to pass the Series 7. After I left Edward Jones, I went and started working for Chase Private Client as a private client banker. We worked with clients who had over $250,000 in assets or more. And so what I realized is none of my clients looked like me. And I didn't like that very much. I needed to figure out how I can use my superpowers to benefit my community. And so I created this course. I created a bunch of courses. I had a general stock market investing course that we put out so people can get the fundamentals and understand the stock market in general. And then I was like, all right, this is cool, but me and my partner are having success with options. Why don't we create a course and teach people options? And I was kind of scared because options are risky. And so I was like, man, like the limited knowledge that I had, I didn't think that we could grasp it. And I was pleasantly surprised because I launched the course, put it out there, and I started getting testimonials trickling in. So one person was like, hey man, this is crazy. I bought your course, I paid $100, I made $100 yesterday. This course is free. And then the next day, somebody else said it. Next day, somebody else said it. And then the numbers started getting bigger. And then they started hitting Don Bucks numbers. And then people were doing even bigger than Don Bucks numbers. I've seen people take this information and hit 6-figure days. People have become literal millionaires. People have done really, really cool things. Again, this is not a pitch. I'm not here to sell you the course. You can get it for $1. But when that happened, I put all the marketing and investing dollars back behind that. And so then I was like, all right, cool, let's get this to the people. Get it out, get it out, get it out, get it out. And then that course just blew up, 5-figure weeks. I want to say I probably had a 6-figure week at one point in time. But what happened is it was being in the right place at the right time. And so a lot of people were trying to be like in the right place. It was about being in the right place all the time. And so it's not about being in the right place at the right time. I was just ready. So I already had the content, I was already putting it out there, I was already promoting it. But what happened in 2020 is the world shut down. The world shut down. The only thing that was open was the stock market. And guess who had the stock market course? And so I share this information because a lot of people are like, 2023 is gonna be my year. It might not be your year, but you still gotta be working. You still gotta be getting out there, putting in the work, putting in the promotion, creating the content. You gotta create content, you gotta promote yourself like your hair's on fire. And so that's what I was doing, is I was already building a brand I built the brand in 2016. It was doing well, it was making money. 2020 is when it exploded. What you're building right now might not blow up until 4 years later when that next whatever happens. But you still gotta be building. One of the best, most gem stories out there is the 3 Little Pigs. And we all know what happened to 3 Little Pigs. You got a pig to build a house with hay, you got a big pig to build a house with sticks, and you got a pig who's over there grinding, stacking, waiting, being patient, building his house with bricks. And that's what we gotta be as business owners. We gotta be in business for the sake of being in business, not being in business so that we can get money in 6 months. Let's be in business for the sake of being in business, because the business is all our community needs is entrepreneurs and business owners. We're gonna need some professionals to help sustain those, but just because you aren't the founder of that company does not mean that you're not an entrepreneur. If you're on the boots on the ground with that business, you're still entrepreneurial, and you're still gonna get paid as if you were an entrepreneur. Maybe not that high, but if you break down Tesla and you see the early employees, if you look at Microsoft, you see the early employees, if you look at all these companies that ultimately go public, the employees get rich too. So you might not be the founder, it might be your mom, it might be your brother, it might be your uncle, it might be your wife. You're still entrepreneurial, and that business is gonna help us all win. And so that's what we did, and I forgot the question, but I was just going.
Listen, that was a hell of a ramble. I'll take it. You said something that really caught my attention. Before you decided to drop that course, you said you were scared. Why were you scared, and what were you scared of?
I was scared that it would actually be a detriment to my community as opposed to a blessing to my community. And so I kind of eased it out there, and I kind of tested and kind of let people see how it happened. And I think that a part of that was thinking that we couldn't understand these things because of being in a space where I was working as a financial advisor and not seeing any of us there. And I think the gem and the thought that I take from that is that we can do anything. We can accomplish anything. I'm telling you, it's dudes who like, you wouldn't think would be interested in the stock market, and they're just like, man, they're chart wizards. But they're gonna consistently tell us that we can't do it. A lot of the reason why we don't solve our problems is because we think we can't solve them. A lot of the reason we haven't started that business or that actual program, that nonprofit, whatever that might be, is because we've been conditioned to think that we can't solve the problem. And so you still gotta do it scared. Like, don't not do it, just do it scared.
Y'all know Glenn knows better, but it's okay because I think for me, I struggle with being in front of people, right, as an introvert. And so, Don, look, unnecessary commentary, okay? But no, seriously, And I hear you sometime mention, I'm an introvert. I had to step outside of my comfort zone. As entrepreneurs, I know a lot of us, we have to, just really promote our businesses and really put ourselves out there, regardless whether we like it or not, how uncomfortable it may be. And so how you identifying yourself as an introvert, how did you overcome that? What were some things that you did?
These are some good questions. The way I did it is I had to find something that was bigger than myself. And so I didn't tell you guys this, but another thing happened in 2020, and I had a son. And when I had a son, providing for him and making sure that he was in a good spot became way more important than anybody else's opinion of me. And so, like that, finding that why, I think is what's gonna get you over that hurdle. I'm still an introvert. I've just kind of learned how to cope as an introvert. But there's nothing wrong with being an introvert because there's a lot of really good things that come from being introverted. I read a ton of books. I immerse myself in knowledge. I'm very introspective, so I'm always thinking. And then I share those thoughts with my mom. And so whatever you are, introvert, extrovert, neither is better or worse, they're just different. You might have to hop into a more extroverted role when an opportunity presents itself, but that doesn't mean that you can't become successful because you're an introvert. You just gotta become successful differently, which is why you guys really gotta tap into the tools and those cell phones. That's one of the, we have such a huge hack because we have cell phones. But like she said earlier, are you using it to make money? Are you using it to make fun of silly things on the internet? We got Instagram, which is literally a total marketplace. We have Twitter. We have all these other apps that are being created where you can promote yourself and build a brand. Before you had to build a website, now you just gotta build an Instagram presence. Create some content, living your daily life. Everything is content. Literally you sitting here is content. You going and frequenting your business, you setting it up, you packing boxes, all that stuff is content and it's gonna expand and grow your brand. And so I guess to circle back to the question, what I did is I just found something bigger than me. And I realized that I cared more about my son's opinion of me than a bunch of strangers, because they're some haters anyway. But the cool thing is, 50% of the people are gonna hate you, but 50% of the people are gonna show up for you. And you can't even reach the 50% that is gonna show up for you consistently unless you make a few people mad. And a lot of people stay small because they're like, I'll just go with the status quo. I'll just say what everybody else is saying. I won't rock the boat too much. But what if it's wrong? What if the boat is wrong and it needs to be rocked? Rock it then. And the haters don't fall off, and the people who love will be holding on. But we gotta take that step.
Big boy.
So common theme that I noticed, babe, you were saying promotion. As an introvert, it's hard to promote and get in front of, your business and talk about your business. You were saying promote like your hair is on fire. We have a promotion company. We promote black business. That's what we do. I remember we were on one call, and I think Bruce was leading the call, and somehow the question came to us, and every opportunity I get, I'm gonna drop black business because of what we do, who we are, who we serve. And Bruce said, I'll never forget, he's like, if self-promotion was a person, it would be you. Why do you feel like promotion is important? Why do you feel like marketing is important? Why should we market like our hair is on fire?
I think that question is self-explanatory.
Yeah.
If you don't promote it, who's gonna buy it? If you don't promote it, who's gonna know it exists?
Absolutely.
If you don't toot your own horn, who's gonna toot it? And I feel like as a community, we're taught to be humble, to be small, to not really talk about how great you are. And stop that. Stop it. If you selling sea moss, it's the dopest sea moss in this building. If you selling cookie butter, it's the dopest cookie butter in this building. And what's gonna happen is, as you're promoting and touting yourself, you're gonna get feedback, because you might not be there yet. And they're gonna tell you, you know what you're gonna do? Tweak it, tweak it, tweak it, tweak it, improve it. And eventually you're gonna have the dopest sea moss in this building. And so I found this out the hard way because, and I was having this conversation with Bruce today at breakfast, is a lot of us start businesses and we think that they're just gonna show up for us. Like, oh, if they want my stuff, they'll show up. No, it don't work like that. But the cool thing is, going back to those tools, there's other ways that you can promote your stuff that aren't just getting on the phone and cold calling people like you had to do back in the day. I generate a lot of leads and information through content. A lot of content. I have 165,000 Instagram followers. I have 40,000 Twitter followers. And I got there because I post. You probably saw me in here taking videos, taking pictures, Snapchatting, everything. I maybe overshare. But, anybody in here who's successful, they are out there talking about what they do. They're out there tooting their own horn. We just saw the brother back there. I know all his resume, and I'm proud of him. I wanted to make sure I had a conversation with them, but there's probably somebody in here who didn't do that, and I'll never know. And they might be doing even bigger numbers. We never know. And so what I found is, and I learned this because I didn't share this, but I have a law degree and I work in a personal injury law firm. And what I realized about this attorney is he's not the best attorney, but he's the best marketer. He got billboards, he's on buses, he got commercials, he's on the radio, he got t-shirts. And quite honestly, a lot of what I kind of tapped into that allowed me to kind of find success is just taking his ideas. If you're in a job, make sure you watching the CEO, not your coworkers. The CEO got what you want, not your coworkers. I'm always looking at the CEO, everything about the CEO. How does he dress? When does he come in? Does he work out? Who's he have lunch with? Everything about the CEO is probably what you want to be imitating. Don't be over here hobnobbing, rubbing shoulders, going to happy hour with the coworkers. Unless the boss is there. If the boss is there, then all right, we can rock with that. And so what I found is that there's a great book that I highly encourage you guys to read. It changed my life. The only difference between success and failure is the amount of action that you take. And you probably got to take way more action to find success than you think. The number is actually 10. And so whatever you think is going to help you reach your goal, multiply it times 10. If you think you can make 10 phone calls a day and be successful, you need to make 100 phone calls. If you think you can post 1 time a day on social media and be successful, you need to post 10 times. And you know what you also got to do is you got to set your goals 10 times higher. A lot of us, we don't lose, we just aim small and we succeed at aiming small. Like, oh, I aimed at 80K, I made 80K. And you frustrated because you didn't make 6 figures. Well, maybe you need to aim at 10 times that. No, maybe you do need to aim at 10 times that. The 10X rule will literally change your life if you don't take nothing else from this. Because for a long time I was wondering, I was working in financial advising, I wasn't getting the numbers I wanted. I was working in private client banking, wasn't getting the numbers I wanted. And one day I was like, I'm just not taking enough action. I'm not making enough phone calls, making enough posts, asking enough people asking the questions. Bruce was talking about it. You gotta ask for the sale, but don't just ask one person a day. You ask one person a day, you may or may not win. You ask 10 people a day, you getting a win every day. Somebody say double it.
Double it.
You know I had to double it.
Well, you trying to stay in trouble, huh?
Man, she just up here just trying to look cute. But you are looking cute, by the way.
That's right.
Let me make sure I see that clear.
Too early.
All right. Let me get back here. So, you glanced over this really quick. And this is something that is actually very important. You have a podcast, and Miss Marjorie spoke about it too, Tweet Talk Podcast. Last time I checked, y'all was 150 episodes deep. I think I read a stat that 90% of new podcasts shut down before they hit 10. Can you talk a little bit about Tweet Talk Podcast?
Tweet Talk Podcast is actually the second podcast that we have. The first podcast was called the Millionaire Podcast. I created it in 2016 when I created my business. Why did I create it? Because I needed content to promote my brand. And also because I wanted to bring the information that other podcasts were sharing with their community to our community. Again, I started this in 2016. Now we got a host of Black Wealth podcasts. You can name them. Social Proof, Earn Your Leisure, Ashcast has a show. Everybody has a show. But I started this way back just watching Bigger Pockets, and I was like, let me take this information. And so I was able to reach out and interview a lot of really dope people. So the podcast has grown, but I'm gonna tell you the benefits of having a podcast. The first one is networking. Everybody here wants a mentor, they want coaching, they want to talk to dope people who are doing dope things. The number one way you can do that is having a podcast. I didn't realize that. But what's cool is also those people become your friends. And so somebody who can be a complete stranger one day comes on your podcast, now they're liking all your posts, they're sending you DMs, they're sending you questions, they're answering your questions, because they're getting a bunch of questions, and now you top of the list because you added value, you gave them marketing, you gave them exposure, you gave them a platform. And so the podcast has done that for me in terms of networking, in terms of just free marketing and promotion, content, branding, and I think all that. But it really was like a labor of love. I think like I said in the beginning, we all have something we can give to our community. And if we all give it to our community would not have any lack. We can't sit on it. We got to share it. Like I said before, you got to give your gift away. Ultimately, that gift is going to come back to you as a return, because what you reap is what you sow. But that was just my form of giving, and in turn, the return came back, and it didn't really ever seem like work. It just seemed like I was getting education, because another benefit of a podcast is all the questions that you have that you want to ask that person, you get to ask that person. And so you can say, well, how'd you get started in real estate? How'd you get through that deal? How'd you handle that bad tenant situation? How did you handle that finance situation? And it's going to run you the list. Because it's a podcast, they got to answer the questions. Unless it's too personal, I make sure not to kind of go across that line. But just seeing the value in adding content and adding value to our community, I think that's why I did the podcast. And from there, there's been a ton that have been created and built, and even my own created another one off the top of that.
Shout out to the podcast.
What's the name of the next one? The next one's gonna be a relationship and marriage.
Let's go. Come on. Now you and I, let's love, relationship, let's talk about all of it. Now we're gonna get there, we're gonna save y'all, we're gonna spare y'all tonight. We'll be here all day. I love Tweet Talk because the premise of the show is Raphael Husband is the co-host of the show. He digs into his tweets and has him elaborate. What did you mean by this? What point were you trying to get across? So that's what I did. I went and I dug in his tweets, and we're gonna give a little snippet as to what Tweet Talk is. So I wrote down my handy dandy ghetto piece of paper that I folded up. One of the tweets that stuck out to me, and I want you to elaborate, quote, "The way we criticize black business owners, you would think we had generations of business experience and financial backing." Before I leave, we're gonna talk about the stock market, I promise y'all. We're gonna talk about the stock market. But my whole point with that was that we gotta start giving each other grace.
Yes. Say it again. Amen.
I ain't going back to that restaurant.
We gotta start giving each other grace. Of course, there should be an attitude of excellence, and we should also hold that standard. But you can do two things at once. You can encourage them to do well while still supporting them. You can coach them and help them get there without abandoning them and just ridding them of all support. You can do two things at once, and we have to do two things at once. And so I think that as our business owners are starting and they're growing and they're building and they're showing up to events, we got to support from them, and we got to maybe criticize them on the side. Why don't you pull them aside and have a conversation with them and not blast them on Instagram and Twitter? Why you got to drag them? I think that's what I was trying to convey with that message. If you are not doing your best work, we actually owe it to you to have that conversation with you, and not just think that you out here just, you just struggling because you suck, or struggling because people don't want to support you. Like, no, but we have to do both. It's responsibility on both parts of it. It's responsibility on the business owner, and responsibility on the community. And if you look at any other community, they tend to do those things. There's a story that we were talking about where in a Jewish community, when you first start your business, everybody shows up and supports it, and they buy from it. And if it's not good, they give you criticism, but they still show up and keep buying from your business. And I was on Twitter yesterday, and somebody, this is kind of related, but kind of not related. I was on Twitter yesterday, and somebody was talking about how, I guess there's this new movie called The Blue Beetle. Anybody see that? It's like a Marvel Blue Beetle. Anyway, Blue Beetle is a movie that kind of is like Black Panther, but for the Hispanic community. And it did very low numbers. and somebody danced on top of the tweet, which is where you quote tweet it, and they're like, oh, man, they've been saying they wanted their own movie, and this is how they support it. And I was like, why do we think that giving billions of dollars to Marvel is a win? When we could be giving billions of dollars to people in this building. We got money. We are not a broke people. We got the bread. If all we did was turn our spending power inward, everything would go upward.
I have another tweet. The worst thing a high-achieving person who has a proven track record of getting results can do is retire.
I should have said retire young. So in 2021, I stopped working my job. I didn't work my job for about 2.5 years. I got very complacent, very, very complacent. I played golf like 5 times a week. I woke up at like 8, set up some automations, took a nap from 11 to 3, and then chill with my son. And a lot of people think that's the dream. Like when you're working a job, you think that that's what you want to get to. And I found that I didn't quite like that too much, not when I had so much bottom inside of me. The very first question was, who's Todd Billy? Todd Billy's not Todd Billy. I used to be Todd Millie because I gave myself that name out of aspiration. And then when I hit the Millie, I had to give myself a new name for aspiration, which was Todd Billy. Todd Billy ain't sitting on the couch. Todd Billy ain't playing golf 5 days a week. And so, if you have a proven track record of getting results, guess what you can do more of? Get more results. If you have a proven track record of winning, you can win more. It might look a little bit different. You might not have to work 80-hour weeks, but you better be working. You better be showing up. You better have a structure. You better have a schedule. You better be doing all these things. And so I would encourage you guys to not aim at stopping as being your goal. Aim at control as your goal. Aim at ownership as your goal. But I wouldn't say aim at just doing nothing, because I've done nothing and it's overrated. It's very overrated. And also, what you don't realize is people are gonna start to kind of look at you a little bit different, and you start feeling different about yourself. You don't get a gut. Like I actually used to be I have a gut like this. You can get out of shape. And I have a new revelation on that. Like I have a new appreciation of structure, of doing these things, especially when you have a profession that you're sitting on. So I didn't go back to a job, I went back to a profession. And there's a really good book called The Jewish Phenomenon where it says that successful people are professionals, entrepreneurs. So you can do either or, but these days we kind of champion people to do both, to be both a professional and be an entrepreneur. So I would just say that keep grinding. There's really the gym there. Keep hustling, keep grinding, keep pushing. And when we normalize work, like it won't actually seem that bad. But when we hate the work and we complain about the work, then we're gonna actually have disdain for the thing that actually is gonna improve us. Another very good book is Wealth Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimball. I got a chance to interview him on my podcast. I got a chance to meet Dr. Dennis Kimball because I had a podcast. Sat down with him, got his personal phone number and everything. And he says that work is the reward. Work is the savior. Don't retire.
I want to ask you one more tweet that I found. And I promise it's the last tweet. People will brag about what you do, but they won't give you the credit for what you did.
Say it again.
Gold bars.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to
Try to keep it PC.
Right, keep it PC. Keep it PC.
Okay, Todd.
Let us know what it is.
I would just say that as you accomplish success, just know that people are saying really good things about you behind closed doors. They might not say them to your face, at least the people that are close to you. Like the people who are close to you, they definitely out there like, yeah, they doing this, they made this. But like when you get close to them, they're gonna treat you like you're average and you're normal, but you're not average and you're not normal. And so this is actually very important as new entrepreneurs as well, because I tell people this all the time, like your family and friends are not your first customers. The world is your customers. Strangers are gonna make you rich. The people that you don't know from Joe, they're gonna make you rich. And so you gotta spend your time giving to those people and providing to those people, and this is gonna be kind of controversial, but you might have to give your stuff to your family for free. People don't like free when they hear entrepreneurship, but even with their own family. But you got, what, 10 family members that can all be future testimonials for you? They don't give you something, they don't give you a testimonial, they're gonna give you some feedback, they're gonna help you build it. And so, in the beginning of your business, not even in the beginning, just in general, just fall in love with the people who don't know you yet. They gonna know you, and they gonna love you, and they gonna see you in the streets, and gonna want to take a picture with you. Fall in love with those people.
That's real. Clap it up for that. Man, listen, I know y'all know if anything that anybody said was true today, is that you expect the people closest to you to support and buy something. And one of the things that I learned from Bruce is they ain't gonna buy from you because that's not your target audience. Learn and understand who your target audience is. The people closest to you, not your target audience. As much as we think that they are, and it's an easy sell, that's not the case. That's never the case. But once you do the research and find out who your exact target audience is, like you said, that could be a complete stranger. We met with a lot of different strangers, and all these strangers turned into family. That's why we call our business BlackBusinessClique. It's more than just strangers. These are people that join the clique, now we family. And we're gonna continue to support, continue to circulate our dollars, and we're gonna work and we're gonna build together.
Billy has something.
Yes. We're gonna take some time to talk about the stock market. Anybody interested in the stock market? I know we had a lot of people who were saying that they don't believe in the stock market because it's not real.
I ain't say that.
So the stock market is very real. I got started in the stock market because I just had a general interest. Actually, that's a lie. I was a second year in college, and I was like, Mom, what should I major in? She was like, you like money, major in finance. And one of the things that I've done very well is I listened to my parents. I just listened to my parents, and she said, we going finance, and so I'm going finance. And so when I started to study finance, I would just turn on CNBC and just binge it. All I watched was CNBC, and so I started to kind of fall in love with the stock market and the ups and downs and the information that was being thrown around and the money that was being made. It's crazy money. And so I started buying stocks when I started working at Edward Jones. And I started working at Edward Jones in 2009 following the stock market crash. It was the weirdest time to be out there trying to sell people stocks and trying to actually like get them to invest with you. I had some success, but it still was like an uphill fight. And so this was in 2009, we're in 2023. That's like 14 years ago. Is that 14 years? That's 14 years. Yeah, and so I just kind of started to invest and just put money in different places and continue to absorb information, which is what a lot of people tend to kind of skip over. I am not a trader. I'm an investor that utilizes options. And I think that that's a very important distinction to make, because trading is cool, and if that's for you, that's for you, but we should all be investing. Every single one of us better be building a stock portfolio. It don't gotta be the largest one, but you need to be focused on it, because these are companies that impact your daily life. All the stock market is a big old portfolio of companies that you use every single day. You got a home, somebody on that stock exchange built that home. You got utilities, somebody on that stock exchange is providing you utilities. You got a phone, somebody who is on that stock exchange provided that phone. Why wouldn't you want to have ownership in these trillion-dollar, billion-dollar companies? It's literally like having the most educated people on Wall Street work for you and your money. I don't got to worry about too much, because I know that Zuckerberg and his dudes from Harvard gonna figure it out somehow, and they always do. Or Elon and his dudes from Harvard and Stanford are gonna figure it out somehow. And so all a stock is just a piece of ownership of a company that you know and use. I highly recommend investing in companies that you know, understand, and you use. It gives you a crazy edge. We're not out here chasing whatever somebody just put out there and said, hey, this stock's going to the moon. It might go to the moon and come right back down. I've seen it happen a lot of times. So avoid the tips, do your research, absorb information. And so I started investing in the stock market, and I had some experience. I think I had some success. And so I went through college, decided to go to law school, did my first year of law school, and my grades weren't good enough. Well, I won't even say that. My grades were good enough to stay, but barely. I was over here, my first semester of law school, I probably failed every class. My second semester of law school, they said, if you don't get over a 2.0, you're gonna be gone. I was taking 3 classes. The first 2 grades posted on the day that I was looking, and it wasn't looking good for your boy. The 3rd grade posted, I ended up with a 2.01 GPA. I had 0.01 GPA to stay in the law school. And so I had to take a break. I was like, nah, this is killing me. I'm chilling. And so when I took that break, what did I start doing? I started trading stocks. And because what also happened when that first year I lost my scholarship, so I owed them a good amount of money to even get back in school. So that's another reason why I took a break. Thankfully, during that time, I was able to find some success in stocks, hit Tesla before it was even $100 per share, made a good amount of money, took that money, paid off the school, got back in school. And from there, I was kind of hooked. Like, I realized this stuff works. The reason why I love options for our community is there's this idea that you gotta have big money to make money in stocks. People think you gotta have a 6-figure portfolio, you gotta have a 5-figure portfolio to make money in stocks. That's not true if you leverage options. One of the words we were talking about earlier was leverage. Options give you leverage, just like real estate gives you leverage. Real estate allows you to have a large amount of money that you can then invest into that property, and then when that property goes up 10%, you didn't make 10% of your down payment, you made 10% on the value of that house. Options are the exact same way. I'm gonna wrap you up. I'm gonna land this thing. So options are the exact same way. You can get access to options through Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, super basic accounts. I highly recommend you starting with Robinhood. You won't get made fun of because people think it's just like this basic platform, but you'll eventually progress through Robinhood. But Robinhood is a great place to learn. And so with options, they trade in contracts. Option contracts give you access to 100 shares. So just like in a wholesale contract, in a real estate deal, the wholesale contract is just paper that gives you access to selling or assigning that contract, assigning that property. With an option contract, it's the same way. You have the right but not the obligation to buy or sell those shares at a specific point in time. The cool thing is an option contract is a fraction of the cost of the entire investment. So for example, let's say you buy Tesla, an option contract on Tesla that gives you access to 100 shares. That 100 shares, if you were to buy it at market, is probably about $30,000. You take the stock is trading at about 300, multiply it times 100, we're looking at about $30,000. Right.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm right. So what happens, and this is gonna be my final point, I promise, unless they have more questions. But what happens is when that option contract, let's say Tesla goes up 5%, I'm not even gonna tell you 10%, let's say it goes up 5%. 5% on 300 is $15. $15 a share, but you got 100 shares, control of 100 shares. You turn that contract that you probably bought for $300 into $1,500 on top of your $300. And so that is why I believe that we still got to spread the gospel of options, even though the market isn't what it was in 2020. There's still opportunity to make money with options. There's people in here who do it all the time. My brother back there in the back pulled me aside, he's trading. Of course we know Don Bucks is trading. There's probably some hidden traders in the down low in here. But I would just encourage you to, these are the tips I'd give you if you want to engage in options trading. You can get the basic book, www.optionswithtodd.com, it's $1. Start small. Don't be out here trying to swing for the fences and create generational wealth in 6 days. Like, don't just start small, have patience, and learn some skills.
Practice trade.
Start with $100, start with $50. That's what's so cool about options and why it had so much fire is people were taking small money, turning it into large money. And if not large money, larger money at least. You can take that $100, turn it into $200. The other thing I would say is make sure that you are looking at high quality companies. Don't be over here buying some new battery company from China that might have popped 20% yesterday, but can't rub two nickels together. Look at the fundamentals of that company. Don't buy an option on the contract. Don't buy an option on the stock that you wouldn't even buy the stock in the first place. And the last thing I would say is practice. Practice. There's tons of paper trading accounts out there through Webull, through Robinhood, through TD Ameritrade. Everybody got a paper trading thing now. Get very good at paper trading before you even start looking at putting your real money out there. I think I covered options. Pretty decent right there, Don Bucks.
Let's go. And a lot of people don't realize with the options, because we dabbled in options for a good amount of time, you can make money when the market goes up, or you can make money when the market goes down, right? So it's just about knowing exactly, doing your research, doing your charts, and just kind of learning. When we started, we were investing in everything. Those battery companies, I don't care what it was. If it looked like it was gonna pop, we're gonna put some money on it. We're gonna pray and just hopefully it go in our direction. It didn't work like that all the time. But that being said, right? Just pretty. All right, well, Todd Billy, what would you like to leave the people with?
I want to ask BlackBusinessClique a question.
Podcast hat on.
In like podcast form, like what does it mean to see this vision growing into what it's growing into? I remember when I was here last year, it was good. I think now you have a whole weekend of events. Mm-hmm. What is that like? Talk to that, and then also talk about just like what it means to see so many of us coming together and just building each other up, sharing information, and all of that.
Oh, flip the script.
Honey?
I'm gonna keep it real quick because I want to let wife do her thing on this. But to me, and this is gonna sound cliche, but this is a real dream come true. Like this whole thing started with a dream, I promise you. So when I look around and I see this, it's like, oh shit, like this is real. Like, hold on, we might be on to something. Let's keep going. One of the things that I learned early on in life is if you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. So we try to take every single thought that we have and turn it into reality. And the more that we do that, the more that we know that we can keep going bigger. And if it's for you, it's for you. It's gonna work out. If it ain't for you, it ain't gonna work out. And if it don't work out, it's just a learning lesson. We recycle, pick up the pieces, figure it out, and do it again. So no, this is a dream come true. And it's extremely humbling. I'm gonna pass it to Tina before I start shedding tears, and then we're gonna get to Don Bucks first.
Don has a question. Maybe we'll. All right, Miss Marjorie done gave me the look, y'all, so I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. But no, honestly, look, I try not to be emotional because when me and Glenn were dating, y'all, I'll give y'all the backstory. We were living in Long Beach on Ocean Boulevard, living on top of the outlets, just eating out every day, enjoying ourselves before we had kids and bills and responsibilities, paying all this money for rent because we just could. We could afford it and we just was living our best life. Right there near the beach, you remember that? We was having a good old time. And then I graduated with my master's from USC.
Come on, sis. Talk about it, brag about it.
And so, thank you.
I didn't know that at all.
Nobody knew
That's
that?
crazy.
Just throw that out there like that. I got a master's.
So that's me by day, right? By trade, I am a social worker. I've worked in residential settings, educational settings, and so I started my career. I graduated, I want to say May 21st, found out we were expecting our first son like May 27th. So, I mean, we was full speed ahead, and at that time, we had already talked during the time that we dated. Hey, when we have kids, I want you to stay home and raise the kids. And so I'm getting anxiety, like, let's see if he really gonna be about that life. Is he really gonna be able to be at home? Or are we gonna have to pay for daycare? And so, I mean, it was exactly what we had planned, what we talked about. He's like, oh no, you gonna stay home and you can finally start that business that you've been wanting to start. And we took the leap of faith, and here we are today. I had to stop, put my business that I originally started on pause, a hidden gem. I had an online boutique, and it was doing extremely well, but balancing two businesses, kids, family. A lot of you may not know, our kids are a year apart, all of them. They're 5, 4, and going on 3. And so it's very, very time consuming. And even though I love every part of it, I know what I don't want to sacrifice is the control that we have over what our children are exposed to. And so being able to be at home, homeschool our children, that was a huge priority for us. And so in doing so, we wanted to continue to do what we were most passionate about, and that was travel and support Black-owned business. And to see it come in full circle now, where again, we're business owners, we get a chance to promote and support Black-owned business, get paid to travel and do what we love, I cannot be happier. And I get a chance to not only share my life, but share my business with the person that I love.
Cover, you got another one?
I think Don Bucks had a
Yeah, Don Bucks
That's
had a
right,
question.
Don, you had a question.
Yeah, you just read it.
That's why we should have let him.
God damn.
Don is okay about that.
I would just say, if I left you with anything, I want to challenge us all to solve Black problems. Thank you. Without involving other people who ain't Black. We recently, if you guys followed the Supreme Court rulings, you saw that affirmative action got struck down. That's an opportunity.
Yeah.
That's not a problem per se. That's an opportunity for us to figure out a way to educate our kids, make sure they're on par, make sure they're above average, make sure that they're excelling, and get the same results, if not better, than what we were getting when affirmative action was in place. There's a lot of issues that we see in our community, and we all know what they are. People are very good at articulating what the problem is. They are good. Let's put that same energy and creativity into solving those problems, and let's all win. This right here is a problem. This is a solution right here. This is. And that's what I would love to see. It ain't about options. If options ain't for you, it ain't for you. But solving problems should be for you. We should be looking to leave the world better off than we found it, especially for our kids and our community.
That's right.
And that's all I want to challenge us to do. It don't gotta be in no particular niche. What is your lane? What is your gift? What are you exceptionally good at? What do people come to you for advice? That kind of stuff is where the opportunity is for you. If there's something that you're good at, but you're over here chasing something else that's shiny, you're just setting us back even further. So be focused, and let's make the world better for the kids. Thank you. Oh, you can find me at optionswithtodd.com. You can find me on Instagram at you can find me on Instagram at Todd.Capital. You can join our amazing mastermind at www.toddcapitalmastermind.com. We meet once a week. We got guest speakers. You get access to every single course I've ever produced. And then you also get access to our bank of prior mastermind calls, where I'm pretty sure everybody here who's taught a lesson, Don Bugs taught a lesson, everybody taught a lesson in there. So it definitely was a pleasure coming here. I hope you guys took something from the entire day. I know you did. We had a bunch of fire speakers, so shout out to all the speakers. Y'all did great. I learned a lot. I'm gonna teach you a lot. Sacramento for some reason. This is my 3rd time here, and it might be my 4th time here. I love it. So thank you guys.
Let's go. Clap it up for Todd Billy one time. Drop that IG one time.
Billy though.
Todd, TODD, Capital.
A-L-I-O-L.
Yes. Oh. We got the Black Men Building Wealth Conference coming up August 5th through 6th. We got a lot of really good speakers. Carmen and CJ speaking. Bruce Hill, New Skills, New You speaking. We're going to get Don Bucks on the mic. And you can find that at www.blackmenwealth.com. Dr. Boyce Watkins is speaking. We got Ian Dunlap speaking. It's a virtual conference. You don't got to be there in person. We did this about 2 years ago. It ran about 11 hours. I told you guys it's always affordable. Last year it was $24 for Kobe Bryant. This year it's $50. We ain't trying to break nobody's pockets. We're just trying to change the culture.
Let's go. Before we get out of here, we would like all the speakers to come up. So if anybody want to fire any questions to the speakers, let's get that real quick. Rich. Who else we got? Bruce in the building. Rich is right there. CJ, I know you wanted to come up. Troy, if you wanted to hit the stage. Naisha. Clap it up for the panel one time. Look at this panel.
Rich, you got up there?
You know they want to actually
Everybody, where would you like to start?
Let's go. Who got questions?
Start drilling first.
I know somebody better have some questions.